Hey guys, I'm Jim K4YCD and you're watching FEP Labs Radio. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. So today I want to share with you something I got just a couple of weeks ago. My friend Shane KI6QFI was telling me about this at Huntsville Hamfest and he showed me his, so I had to go get one. This is a Unication Model G4 scanner. Actually, it's a pager technically, but it's a scanning pager. So we're going to call it a scanner probably throughout this video. So don't get on me in the comments about that. And this comes in various models, and we'll pull up their page and look at the various models. Okay, so here is Ray's pager sales. This is where I got this from. And again, these are really oriented toward first responders. The actual pagers themselves, they have the different models of pagers. And so the options kind of vary. My system here, as I mentioned, is a P25 700 to 800 megahertz trunking system, phase 2. So this is what I got. And some of these are not P25. Some of these are straight analog. So that's a quick look at the website. This video is not sponsored by Ray's Pager Sales. Never talked to Ray, just bought it from him. He doesn't know who I am. I just think it's a really cool product that a lot of you may get some enjoyment out of because a bunch of us hams are scanner nerds too. The long and the short is you can get single band, which is what I got, dual band, conventional only, P25, and I think there's flavors for some other digital modes. Mine is 700 and 800 megahertz only and P25 only. I think it will also do conventional, but there's no conventional in the 800 megahertz band that I'm aware of. Around here, certainly there's not. So I would call this very comparable in performance to a Uniden SDS 100. I have other scanners here. I have a Uniden 996P2, which is also a trunk tracking scanner, which works very well. And in my testing with this particular scanner, pager, here, it kept up with the Uniden scanners just fine. It wasn't dropping anything out at all. Okay, so let's take a quick close-up look here at the scanner. This, like I said, is the Unication G4. This has the two knobs on top. One is the volume control and power on off, and then this is our channel changing knob here. The antenna that comes with it is an SMA style antenna. It's about this tall because it's designed for 800 megahertz frequencies. The controls on it are pretty straightforward. That's where we charge it. These are a couple of spare function buttons you can use to program specific functions to it. The screen is, let me turn it on. The screen is very clear and easy to read. And as we'll discuss in the CPS, you can actually edit some of the functions, the data that showed on the screen and what the soft keys do. A lot of the functions for this particular device are designed for public safety use, a fire department or police or EMS. And if you had this hooked up to a P25 system and you were affiliated, you could receive messages and video pictures on it, that kind of thing. It's blinking out of range because there's no antenna connected at the moment, so it's not able to get the control channel for P25. You can jump into the menu system here and using this little control knob here, and then you see the different soft buttons across the bottom. Their function changes in a contextual manner depending on where you are, and you can move up and down through the menus and press the little center knob to jump to a specific thing, and then you'll get in there and you can see the zones that I have set up. I'll show you more about that in a little while. Back up. And unread messages, and again, some of these are functions for our affiliated system, which as a scanner, I'm not affiliated. Set our time format and some other stuff. I don't believe, I wouldn't swear to this, but I don't believe you can program this from the front panel because setting up a P25 system from this thing would be the most burdensome, onerous task I could imagine. The top tells us our time and our signal status, which since I have no antenna, it's blinking. And then whether we're on duty or off, battery status. There's a few other messages that may pop up in there depending on where we are. The soft keys, of course, change depending on where you are in the menu system. And then the screen is telling me right now what zone and system I'm connected to. These are names that you can program in and then see how the soft function buttons have changed based on what I'm in. I can hit the zone button and I can change zones. And you see the little check mark. Oops. You see the little check mark there. It's hard to see on camera, Shows which one we have selected. So I can change zones that way. And then within that zone, of course, I can change the knob, which I'll back out. So right now I'm on the county sheriff and fire, and I can change that to Montgomery Police, because these are all the blocks of talk groups I have programmed into this particular zone. Anyway, so, and then it'll show you if I received something, and since I'm not connected, it's not going to. It will change to show you what particular radio number is talking, and so on and so forth. It's got to find the control channel. It just told me it's back in range, and we're getting 2 bars. And of course, now I'm trying to record this. It's not going to, no one's going to be talking. Isn't that the way of it? So anyway, and the audio on this is great. I have no problem hearing it. It's got really decent audio, actually. In my truck, I keep this clipped to the visor, and I can generally hear it even with the windows down or something like that. So it's pretty nice. You can see the size of it compared to my hand. So it's a very compact design, and that makes it one of the best scanners I've ever had, just based on the size alone, because it's so dang compact and stealthy. This does not have a wired earphone jack. This does do Bluetooth. So the only way you're going to be able to monitor this privately is with a Bluetooth earbud set. So here is the CPS software for the pager. And this is, again, a Unication pager. And you have a bunch of things you can do here. So the user guide, and it will give you all the documentation and settings and some other features. The biggest thing with this that makes this very cool is it has the ability for profiles. So if you live in a metro area, for example, somewhere like Chicago or Los Angeles or, New York, whatever, where you have a very complex, large system, you could have completely separate profiles. So FDNY could be one profile and NYPD could be another profile. You can slice it and dice it multiple ways. And when you combine the multiple profiles with the multiple zones and the 8 physical knob positions, that gives you a very excellent range of capability as far as how you want to divide up the stuff you listen to so it makes logical sense to you. I have a buddy who got one of these. He's in a fairly busy metro area, and he had a lot of stuff set up in zones, and we kind of talked about it, and I think he's changing his thought process on it, and that maybe he doesn't, and it will work fine for him that way. To me, it made more sense to have my stuff that I'm immediately listening to, Montgomery, for example, where I can just change the knob between police, fire. So multiple profiles, which is very nice. It will allow you to clone to other G-series pagers through the CPS software. And then it has also a programming log, which I don't have set up, where it will show us all the things that we have done to program the actual software. So when we want to get started, we want to import a profile. So we're going to tell it to import that profile. And there's already a profile in there, so I'm not going to replace it. But now we're going to view and edit our existing profile. So it takes us to this screen. We'll go ahead and select that and open that up. And now I need to change windows. Okay, so once we leave the main screen, it will take us to, when we go to edit a profile, it will take us to this screen, which is specific to this profile. And up here on the top, our basic information setting. Can't see my mouse moving. It tells us the profile and what it's set up for. And as we're doing a very specific one, those settings are going to stay the same for this pager. It's the only one I have. Under profile information setting, of course, it shows our profile name and then some basic information about the pager and if you want to put a password on it. We're using a trunking system. I have these systems added right here on this screen. And you can see that they're all named with an alias. This one, I could look at it and figure out what it is and rename it. You can set these names to anything you want, really. So this is a list of all the P25 trunking systems that are in my pager. A nice feature about the CPS is that over here on the side, if I have help on, then I can click on a field and it will tell me what that field is and what it's for. So for example, on a P25 system, you have a WACN ID, you might have a system ID, detail about the control sites and everything can be pulled up when you click a pop-up, and it'll tell you some of that same information, allow you to change it. So this particular site, this particular setting on this system has 5 sites listed, 49 control channels, and it's not scanning the entire spectrum. It's listening to the control channel and going from there, kind of deal. And of course, those details change with every system. The pager scanner will do crypto. So if you have a system and you're a valid authorized user with a key, you can install your key and decrypt encrypted communications. And then we get down to the sauce. This is where you set up your zones and channels, and this is what I was talking about earlier. This vertical column is the name of all the zones I have. So each row is a zone, and this is just whatever name I want to give it. And these are the knob positions that I have set in that zone. And as I said, you have 8 knob positions for each zone you set up. There's an upper limit to how many zones you add. It's fairly large. You can have 64 talk groups per knob position. So if you have more than 64 talk groups in a given zone, you're going to have multiple knob positions or split up your zone, however you want to do that. So this is how I have it set up here. So Montgomery is where I'm at. Then I have Huntsville, Orlando, and Dayton. In Montgomery, I have the county sheriff and the fire department for where I live. Then there's Montgomery Police, Alabama Law Enforcement, Prattville, Alabama PD and Fire. It's a small town close by. And then I have our county mutual aid disaster stuff. So I can switch that knob and change to any of these blocks of channels if I wanted to listen to them. Then Huntsville, I have all the Huntsville stuff I wanted is part of the AIR network, and that stands for something. I don't remember what it is. And these are all P25. Orlando is broken out into multiple agencies per knob. So Orlando County Fire Rescue, Orlando City Fire, Walt Disney World Police and Fire, Orange County Sheriff, and Orlando PD. And then Dayton is mostly set up. Dayton's got a lot of stuff, and this may not be the best setup for it, but it's what I got done last night, and I was tired of messing with it. So that's how I have it broke up. And I could add more zones in here and, of course, split it out across the 8 knob positions. If you go to edit a given zone, I can double click on it and bring it up. And when you bring it up, you get this screen, and this will tell you that it's a trunking talk group scan. The zone is MGM AL, and I'm on knob position 1. And this is what I'm listening to. Again, these are some of the specific details for this system that I'm listening to. How many sites and control channels and so on and so forth. Any specific parameters I need to use for this system. And then you get down to the talk group list. And these are all the channels that would be available. And then you can move them into a priority talk group list where they get scanned more often, or into a non-priority talk group list. And for my purposes, I'm just using the non-priority talk group list. So on this particular zone and knob, this is got my county fire department and the sheriff's office. I also listed Montgomery Fire, which nothing happens because they're encrypted. But I thought, well, if they ever change their minds, I'll hear them. So that's what's on this particular knob. So then if we look at MPD, it's much the same thing, except the difference is while I'm on the same P25 system, I broke it out so the Montgomery Police Department is a separate knob position with no fire or anything else in it. And so on and so forth through the whole entire setup. Then you move down and you get into some settings that are really more pager function stuff. And my device is not set up for any of that. Talk group hold settings, I have it set so that I can hit one specific button on the scanner and it will hold a given talk group. So if something's hot on the sheriff's office, I can just hit hold and I won't have the scanner will not scan anything else. It won't move off that talk group until I hit a button and free it up. Home screen settings, what details are on the home screen. So if there's some stuff that's just irrelevant to you and your function, you can remove those completely. So I may not care about bandwidth and I may not particularly care about frequency because I'm listening to a P25 talk group. Whatever the controller channel has set it to is relevant. I can turn that off. I can remove alert mode. I can remove push to listen. And so now those items, those data items, won't be displayed on my home screen. So you could really maximize the data that's important to you and get rid of a lot of stuff that's not going to matter. Do I need to see the Wackin ID? No, not really. Don't care. The RFS ID, the site ID, the control channel frequency, my duty status, none of that is going to matter to me as a civilian end user. So I can just disable those things so they don't even put those data points on the screen. One last feature in the software that I neglected to mention was in the zone and channel settings. If I want to copy and make a new zone, I can right click and copy the entire zone and then go down and add a new zone. Hello, add, and then right click and paste. And now I've completely duplicated zone 1. The same goes for each knob position. If I want, for some reason, if Aaliyah is a lot of stuff and I want to split Aaliyah up, I can copy Aaliyah, come down here, paste it, and then go in and edit this to make a second copy of the Aaliyah data, only with the talk group split up. So that's a really cool function. So that covers the basics of the CPS software and the stuff you can do. I like the form factor of the pager a lot. It's very convenient to clip on your belt. Stick it in your pocket or purse. Guys, that's it. This is the Unication G4 model pager. There is a G1 through G5. I like these things. I bought this from Ray's Pager Sales. I'll put a link in the description below. The CPS software is freely available from Unication. There's a link on Ray's site to download the CPS. The Unication site itself is Taiwan. I've been really pleased with it. This particular model is $580, which is about almost $100 cheaper than a Unit and SDS 100. And honestly, this does everything I do with my SDS 100, and it was cheaper. So I think it's a pretty good bargain. Guys, that's all I've got in this particular video. Thank you for sticking around. Hope you got something out of this, and let me know if you get one of these things, if you got any trouble getting it wired up and programmed. Y'all have a good one. 73.